I'm always on the lookout for something cool, something unique, something that stands out amongst the crowd. And I love awesome mechanisms in knife design. Unique locking designs, unique deployment designs. But the issue is that there's a very fine line that separates awesome mechanism from gimmick. And today we're going to be checking out a knife that is not a gimmick. In fact, our friends over at North Mountain Blade have teamed up with none other than Lee Williams to bring to you a brand new Kickstop knife. Let's go ahead and check out the Kickstop Chop.
This is Sparta!
Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in, and if you've been here before, smash the like button on the way in. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny, and today I'm super excited because we've got another Kickstop knife in the building. That's right, there have not been many models of knives that have the Lee Williams Kickstop mechanism, but my friends, this is one of them. You see that guy right there? Look at it. You see the logo, the Lee Williams Kickstop logo? That means that this is not some fly-by-night operation. That means that this is an officially licensed design. They paid good money to Mr. Lee Williams in order to use his Kickstop design. And guys, I love it. I love it. I love knives that have innovative design qualities like a good locking mechanism or a really good deployment mechanism. And this one definitely does. The Kickstop. In case you didn't know, the Kickstop is a flipper tab which lives separately from the rest of the blade. It's not like all the other flipper tab knives out there where it's part of the blade and then, you know, you open it and then you got this thing sticking out over here and your comment section says, oh, I just want to do a flipper. I just want to do a flipper delete. That's a lot of what people complain about with flipper tab knives is they don't like what it does to the ergos, because instead of having a spot to choke up right here, you got this big old flipper thing sticking out, getting in the way of your business. But that's not something that you have to worry about with a Kickstop knife, because after you deploy it, the flipper tab hides between the scales, allowing you to get a perfect grip and non-interrupted ergos. And a big shout out and a thank you to my friends over at North Mountain Blade for supplying this for review, because the moment I saw this on their Instagram tease, they said there was only going to be 100 units. I reached out and I said, is there any way that my channel could be one of the first, if not the first, to talk about this awesome knife? And luckily for me, they agreed, and here it is. Now, just a heads up, they're going to have a couple different variations of this knife. If you like DLC, you can get it in DLC. If you like the frag pattern like this, you can get it in the frag pattern. If you like carbon fiber inlays, you can get that too. You got options, and you're gonna want to pay attention, guys, because this is not just a knife with a cool opening mechanism. No, it also has excellent cutting geometry. And you might be wondering, well, that's fine and dandy, but what's it cost and what's it made out of? Now, just a heads up, I do have a discount code for North Mountain Blades. It's RSB10. So if you want to pick up this knife or any other knife in their catalog, go to their website and use RSB10 at checkout. I don't get anything when you use that code, but you get 10%. And that means that this knife, the Kickstop Chop, starting at $200, is actually going to only cost you $180. Now, for those in the know, you know that that is an extremely good deal for any knife with the Kickstop mechanism. There's only been a handful of knives released to date across the world that have the Lee Williams Kickstop, like the F22 Kickstop, like the Redemption 229 Kickstop, or like the Shirogorov, I think it's the K110 or the 110 Kickstop. So let's go ahead and get into some specs, starting off with the overall length. And normally I'll just post some stats up on the screen, but apparently people don't trust online specs, so we got out the measuring tape. From tip to tail, we're looking at about 7.5 inches, call it 7.6. The blade itself, depending upon where you measure it from, is going to be 3.5 inches long. And the blade is M390 on this gorgeous compound ground Tanto blade. That means that we have a hollow ground here for the main and then a flat ground here at the top, allowing for you to have really good strength behind the spine of the blade. And you might notice it's a bit of a fingerprint magnet. But I promise you, it really is a decently good satin grind. I really like the fact that we've got a horizontal satin up here on the flat and then a vertical satin here for the rest and up here on the swedge as well. And the hollow grind does a really good job of keeping it slicey. I went through cardboard on this knife and I can tell you it had no problem going through double thick cardboard like it was nothing. And when I asked North Mountain Blade, you know, what kind of HRC target do you shoot for? Typically, they shoot for somewhere in the realm of 60 to 62. They are planning on posting a Rockwell test video on their Instagram. So if you want to see that, make sure to follow them on Instagram. The handle scales are these really well done titanium handle scales. And this specific one has a frag pattern milled handle scale. That's really good. You can, of course, again, get it in carbon fiber. You can get it in DLC as well. Check out this show side. This show side is what I would refer to as a true show side. And that means that there are no showing screws. Like you have a single-sided captive pivot here with this really nice pivot collar, and then a female end here at the back, and that all screws in with 2 screws. To take this knife apart, you really only need a T8 driver because it's T8 hardware all the way around, baby. Check it out. T8 pivot, T8 singular body screw, T8 lock bar insert. It's got a steel lock bar insert. The pocket clip is blind screwed, which means that there's no hideous screws hanging out on your pocket clip. We have a modest back spacer and a hidden lanyard hold. If you are of that variety and you like lanyards, there you go. The insides are not milled out at all, but we do have a really nice groove here, kind of like we got on the other North Mountain Blade shop that I checked out. And I like that. It's very, very bold because it's very easy to tell right away how centered your blade is. And check out that action. It's stupidly smooth. Yeah, she's centered. How is the action? Well, it is one and done with the Kickstop deployment. There is no thumb studs. There is no deployment hole. The only way to open this is with the Kickstop itself. And it's a good action. I will say this, it did take a minute for it to break in, but after breaking in, I've had absolutely no issues with the action whatsoever. A side note is that once you take this knife apart, you will want to reapply some Loctite because the screws, after you break the initial seal, the screws will need Loctite. Otherwise, they will loosen themselves over time, just like with any other knife. The lockup on here is coming in somewhere around the 40%. Call it 45% mark, which means that there is no wiggle, there's no jiggle. We've got really good fit and finish. This is crazy, guys. This design has it all. This is the least expensive Kickstop knife released ever. Or at least that I'm aware of. I'm sure that you guys in the comment section will let me know if you know of a Kickstop knife that can be had for $200 or less that's not made by North Mountain Blade. I would love to hear about it because if it does in fact exist, I would like to check it out. Now, on this knife, I mentioned that the cutting geometry was good. Going through cardboard was great. I had absolutely no issues there at all. I'm a really big fan of the smooth fit and finish. Like you could tell that this knife is just so composed on that drop shut. It just wants to go home, but it's not going to slam your head off on the closure at all. Can you fail it? Yes, you can. And I'm going to tell you why. You can fail it because it is easy to put too much tension on that lock bar. When you go to do this, look at where your fingers naturally lie. They lie on that lock bar. So when you do that, well, that was a bad example. When you do that, you can fail it. But look at where your fingers lie. So getting used to not putting too much tension on the lock bar is in fact a thing. But it does break in, and it only gets smoother and smoother and smoother. Just a tip for those of you out there who want to break it in a little bit sooner, just get it halfway open like this, put some pressure on that lock bar and work it. Work it, baby. And that will help break in that detent ball track on the tang of the blade, and it will just help you get that much smoother action a whole lot quicker. Oops, there's a fail. And look where my finger is. I'm telling you guys, that lock bar is sneaky because you don't expect it to be there, but it's there. But check this out. In the left hand, noticeably not putting any pressure on the lock bar whatsoever. Bang. Once you get used to properly holding this, or holding this rather in a way where you're not putting any undue pressure on the lock bar, the action is really flipping good. All puns intended. And you know what? I'm going to go out of my way and say this. Had this been released a few months earlier, this would have been in the running for Knife of the Year. It's rare that we see a knife of this quality, of this caliber, with this level of innovation and design and fit and finish at this price tag. I'm not saying that there aren't knives out there that match that. I'm just saying that it's not common at this price point. If this had a We logo on it, this would be a $300, $400, $450 knife. If this had a Riot logo on it, it would be a $350, $450 knife with the same materials. And that's saying something. I'm a huge fan of what they've done here. They've kept that classic Japanese tanto design language. They've innovated with the Lee Williams Kickstop. And on top of all of that, this is a limited edition knife. They are only doing 100 on this very first release. Will they do more releases? I have no idea. Nobody has any idea. It kind of depends on how successful this is. Now, I have given my channel members in my members only Discord a heads up on this, and many of them have already started buying them. So if you want one, I highly suggest going and picking one up, because I have no idea how long these are going to stay in stock once the masses know that they exist. Ultimately, I think this is a winner, guys. $200 before discount code on this guy. If you want one with DLC, or if you want one with carbon fiber, those start at $220. If you decide to get one, make sure to use my discount code and save yourself 10% off. So that means that this one is now $180 roughly. But I'm curious, what do you guys think of the new North Mountain Blades Kickstop Chop? Is this something that you're interested in? Did you know this existed? Were you just waiting for reviews? Or for some reason, is it going to be a pass for you? Let me know in the comment section down below. Which is it for you? If you watched this far and you enjoyed the video, please consider clicking on that subscribe button that's about to pop up in the corner. But if you just want to watch some more awesome knife and EDC content, go ahead and click on one of the videos that pops up next.